Hello everyone, Pallytub here. Welcome back to Diablo 4. I am very excited to bring you this video. In the last couple hours of the beta being live, I wanted to theory craft a build that I thought up in between beta weekends. Could you be a summoner sorcerer? As you might be able to tell, the answer is a resounding yes. It is a little weird, it is a little wonky to kind of skip over so many core abilities. But once you hit level 20, respecking into something like this, I think would be fairly easy to do. It allows you to summon in a bunch of these ice daggers pretty much everywhere. And the cooldown reduction that the ice daggers get can give you cooldown reduction on your other abilities as well, meaning you kind of spam out buttons like crazy. It's a very reactive playstyle. Let me show you what I mean. When our ice dagger hits a vulnerable target, it'll lower its cooldown. And as you can see, that lowers my other cooldowns as well. So I can continue to freeze and make targets vulnerable while also continuing to spawn more and more axes that give me more cooldown reduction as they hit vulnerable targets. I called them axes a second ago, but look how many daggers we have out on the field. It was like 6 there. To accompany the ice blades, we can also drop a hydra that deals fire damage to nearby enemies, and a lightning spear that zooms around to hit other targets as well. The lightning spear gets cooldown reduction, and we can send out more of those more often as well as our ice blades continue to find targets. You're just clearing the room effortlessly. You don't even have to move. Your pets are doing everything. I do think I have one legendary that's helping us out with this. It is this amulet. Hold on, let me get rid of our unwelcome guests. I guess I might as well start the skeletal construct in the middle too. Perfect. Yeah, basically once we get the freeze out, it all just kind of cascades into place. We can just keep spamming out 2 and 4 to continue spreading vulnerable damage, to continue to get more CDR. God, that's such a good synergy. Okay, so this is the legendary I think is helping me. You guys could take care of this, right? You don't actually need me, right? I'm just gonna go stand over here. It is my amulet. Skills deal up to 48% increased increased damage based on your available primary resource. So my resource is this mana here. As you can see, I don't have a spender, so I'm always getting the maximum benefit of that legendary, which I think means that every pet I summon in is dealing 48% increased damage. And when you can cycle through this many pets, and technically my teleport is dealing increased damage, but when you can cycle through this many pets, I think that additional damage really does add up quite quickly. If we take a look at our talents to make all of this possible, I'm already seeing ways we can optimize this a little bit better already. But basically, I have points in Arc Lash for my generator. Again, I don't have a spender, so I tried to up the damage on this as much as I could, thinking we'd be using this as filler quite a lot. In reality, we're really not. I might be able to allocate these points even better. But Arc Lash spreads to additional enemies. Critical strikes allow it to swipe additional times, and it's going to give us that movement speed increase that I actually do want, allowing me to move around and just avoid damage a bit easier. As you can see, I skipped over the core skills entirely. Yes, indeed, this is weird. I gave you that warning from the beginning. I said it right at the start. You were already warned. Teleport is my defensive skill with the enhanced teleport, which reduces its cooldown a little bit more. And after teleporting, we take 30% reduced damage for 5 seconds. If we're in a situation where we are getting a ton of CDR, then we should be able to teleport relatively often and keep that damage bonus rolling. That's why I don't have ice armor, even though ice armor would give us the same cooldown effect. And I'll talk about that more in just a second. Frost Nova is super important. The damage on it doesn't really matter. What does matter is that you get the cooldown reduction here. Killing frozen enemies by Frost Nova reduces its cooldown by 2 seconds. And Frost Nova makes enemies vulnerable for 4 seconds, increased to 8 seconds versus bosses. That means we only have to cast this every 8 seconds versus bosses. and our daggers are going to be popping off. This is Ice Blades. Their cooldown is reduced by 1 second each time they hit a vulnerable target, which is why this vulnerability matters so much. And then 50% of that cooldown reduction is also given to our other skills because we have Ice Blades as our enchanted ability. This is the Sorcerer class quest. Make sure you do this. There's another one at level 30, and I can't even begin to imagine the combinations with that. Basically, this allows you to supercharge one of your abilities in one way. Each one has different effects. You can try them out and see what fits your fancy. You could run the same build as me and potentially just not use this enchantment, and it would play pretty differently. The Lightning Spear also is a summoned monster that goes around and attacks stuff for me. I gave it the after critically striking. Lightning Spear gains 5% stacking critical strike chance for its duration, meaning it could do a lot of damage near the end of its cast. On a side note, I'm also a huge fan of Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy, and I just want a mod where this whistles as it runs by me all the time. I'm just putting that out there. Lastly, we do have Hydra. Now, Hydra does not have a cooldown, so I was actually thinking about just removing this. But for the purposes of us summoning in stuff, it does still make sense. Hydra, you basically just spawn in. It'll attack anything nearby. If you cast it while you're healthy, it gains an additional head thanks to this talent, meaning it can just attack more. That's all it's doing. Now, the reason you might want something with a cooldown is because each time these guys attack, they're lowering the cooldown of everything. So we could put Ice Barrier there and literally never take damage and benefit from that cooldown reduction. But having extra pets out does feel thematic. And that's it. I didn't spend anything in anything else. I didn't get any of my ultimates. All of my points were dedicated right here. And I do think there are going to be ways of enhancing this even more once we can get to higher levels. And again, this is with only one legendary supporting it. And I feel like I'm popping off pretty well. Now, the Sorcerer in general is a pretty strong class. I don't think anyone is arguing against that. But this, to me, was a pretty off-the-wall idea. And I'm just so pleased to see it work so well. A lot of the builds I've seen in Diablo kind of do really well versus trash and elites, but then struggle against bosses a little bit, or at least you have to approach bosses kind of differently. That's not the case here at all, like at all. Because of the extra vulnerability time we get on Frost Nova, we should actually be completely dominating bosses even harder than these elites. Man, this guy has a lot of ads. I can't get any damage in on him, but look at my CDR. That's insane. Button pressing intensifies. All right, Blood Guard, let's see what you got. Let's get Hydra down and Lightning out. Summon in the Blade. Teleport in. Ooh, I missed the teleport. No, good for me that guy was still in vulnerability range. We got very lucky there. As long as his HP bar is purple, that's when the vulnerability is active. So we only need to recast Frost Nova when it's not purple. And as you can see, it's lasting for a pretty long time. Let's make sure all of my pets are out, continue to summon. A lot of these ads that are being summoned in are also going to explode, making ads. So this could get out of hand pretty quickly, to be honest. Continue to freeze, continue to chase. Because of the damage reduction from teleporting, I can actually be pretty aggressive while still being pretty safe here, even while standing in all of these effects. As long as I get the vulnerability off every chance we can. That's actually so much fun. Oh God, the explosion! I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for the explosion, but the boss died. By rules of engagement, I am the victor. I'll just go get that loot. Again, I'm showing this off because this was just a random idea I had while it was literally a shower thought. Could I make a summoner Sorc work? And I wanted to give it a try before the servers go down. I don't have very long and I want to make a few more videos. So I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully this helps expand your mind with potential possibilities as well. Genuinely, theory crafting has been the most fun part of these last couple weeks. Thank you guys for being here. I'll see you again very soon. Goodbye.